Hello and welcome to a 3v3 cast. Starting off we have Cornholio playing as the Lord General on the top side of the map. In the center of the map for blue team we have Forestradio playing as the Chaos Sorcerer, and finally for the blue team we have Floid playing down in the bottom here as the Techmarine with the Legion of the Damned Elite mod color scheme. We should also mention that Forest was also using the Elite mod Thousand Suns color scheme, and as for IG I'm not actually sure too much about their color schemes, so I'll leave it at that. But on to the red team we have KvotheTheBloodless playing as the Orks using the Death Skulls clan Elite mod custom scheme. I believe it's the Death Skulls custom scheme is the one where the Warboss looks like he has a waxed on head which is blue. And we have Jorg in mid playing as the Inquisitor. Again, I'm not too sure about the IG color schemes as much in comparison to the others. And finally we have a Phoenix playing as the play champion here with this yellow skin. Phoenix, you should remember him in the monthly Rumble tournament 23, the one that was over a month ago. He did come second in the tournament, did have some long games there, but I think most of you have probably seen it, and if you haven't seen it by now then you should definitely give it a check out. But already a bit of action down in mid. Aggression here from Jorg as he decides to push in straight away for the center VP. Meanwhile in top, Forest is forced to actually take his units up from top down towards the mid to actually defend it, losing his natural VP and requisition point so early on in the game. Meanwhile in the bottom here, some more aggression from KvotheTheBloodless, pushing up against Floyd's Techmarine here. It's very difficult to win against Orks in the very first engagement in a 3v3 given how grouped up they are and given how well they can just fight together with the WAR bonus stacking on top of each other. Especially for Space Marines, if they decide to only go for a single scout squad, decide to go out for another attack squad, which takes quite a while, or if they decide to go for a tier 1.5 unit, it does take them quite a while to get that out, so they tend to lose the first engagement. So what we can do is sit back and try and kite as much as possible. Double Sentinels in mid though for Jorg are going to be very difficult for the Sorcerer to actually handle. Relies quite a lot on melee units such as Heretics, and the Sorcerer, being melee himself, will definitely struggle against the Sentinels. However, the Sword of Flame actually does its damage over time to Sentinels, and Doombolts, being that they are plasma damage, are actually more effective against Sentinels since heavy infantry is more vulnerable to plasma damage. Meanwhile on the top side there is a multi-last turret setup, and Phoenix regenerating here with the play champion. Very static play from both players, but it's up to Phoenix to be the one to push as Corn is in control of that top VP. And these Havocs here firing away these Sentinels, just not moving whatsoever, and the second one is backing away into the Sentinel, but luckily the Inquisitor does interrupt those Havocs in time. That Sentinel is very low here. There are some Sluggers in for backup. These Sluggers are going to be outmatched by the Heretics and the Sorcerer. They're already half health, and the Doombolt's hitting the Heretics with the Doom Blast following it up. And the Sentinel getting quite close here. Does need to be careful since it does not have a Stomp upgrade. Can easily get surrounded by melee. Grenade Gauge thrown down. It's actually going to do some friendly fire damage, but these Sluggers in the end will go down. It is worth that single Heretic model to actually wipe down the entire squad. And double fully upgraded, or nearly double fully upgraded shotgun scouts here. Not really sure how well this is going to work against the Orc player. Bloodless here can always get some detection with the Shooter Boy knob. Very effective at the source of detection. On top of it, double shooters actually being extremely effective against scouts. Scouts are, I'd say, better suited at fighting melee units or fighting suppression teams by sneaking up and throwing a grenade. The problem is when they go up against ranged units that can detect as well, they will struggle. Compared to melee units, scouts do actually have melee resistance, which is why they're able to survive against melee units much better in comparison to other squishy units such as them. But some Storm Boys going to be jumping in here. These Tactical Marines need to be pretty careful, but the Shotgun Blast from these Scouts is going to be very effective. That cliff is in the way, and these Storm Boys are easily forced off, but the double shooters are pushing in, and the Scouts are taking so much damage here. They do need the elite training upgrade if they want to try and regenerate the amount of damage that they are taking here. They're definitely going to bleed down some models, taking so low. And there goes one model, that Warboss with angry bits. Not angry bits, sorry, but with hard boys on him. You can see the blue circle and Scouts trying to push in very aggressively here. These shooters really do need some detection. They need to get that as soon as possible. These Scouts are getting so low here for Floyd, and that's going to be an expensive loss there, losing a fully upgraded Scout squad. And also throw a grenade can repay it by potentially killing this one Shooter Boy squad, but will be able to get away. In the top side of the map though, both IG players meet each other. as Jorg Apo decides to push, and Corn is going to be struggling here. Does have a heavy weapons team sitting far behind, but Castion's on the scene, although Castion's actually for Jorg Apo using their own reliable already, but Raptors are going to be jumping onto that heavy weapons team. These yellow Raptors looking like bumblebees jumping in, and this Chaos Sorcerer taking a lot of damage, getting knocked over, might go down. If the Inquisitor has Hammer the Witches, he is definitely dead, and this Sorcerer doesn't even need to get hit by Hammer the Witches, actually falls down to ranged and melee damage, trying to retreat away. Raptors trying to jump onto these Chaos Space Marines, currently unupgraded, no Eternal War for them just yet. Sentinel running over some terrain, and Raptors going to get a little bit of XP here from meleeing down some Guardsmen on retreat. Meanwhile, in the bottom side of the map, Stormbase jumping onto these Tactical Marines once again, getting the special here. Might even wipe the squad. A few more hits and they will be dead. 3 HP. Might even die to the range damage of the Stormbows, but the Stormbows only doing 1 DPS in range. It's not going to be enough to actually finish off that Tactical Marine squad. Stormbows though, 125 power melee damage, extremely effective against heavy infantry such as Tactical Space Marines, especially when you combine it with use your choppers for extra melee skill and extra damage. Havoc's going to be setting up once again. Castions with no ways of actually stopping these Havocs, or these Havocs right now. Could try it if they had the explosives upgrade or the Demolition Man upgrade. They could actually try and throw a smoke bomb onto their own units to give range damage reduction and suppression reduction, but currently they do not have that upgrade and are unable to do it. Heavy weapons team set up trying to fire away at some CSM. These Raptors might find themselves a bit overextended here. Try to melee down that heavy weapons team, won't be able to do it. Also getting a little bit friendly fire here from Jorg, but not going to be losing any models there whatsoever, so they will be fine. And this also cannon getting shotgun blasted in the face is going to get forced off here. Meanwhile, CSM are on capping duties in mid, and the pressure from red team is wearing thin now, as a lot of units here for Phoenix are forced off the field and are forced to pull back a little bit. Heavy weapons team though is actually pushing forward, for Jorg Apo is actually going to go in a bit more aggressively here. And I apologise for my phone going off, I forgot to put it on mute, but the Lord General going to be pushing in. Inquisitor going in very hard here. There is a Sentinel actually going to go down here. 2D Plasma Pistol of the Inquisitor, very rare that you'd see it. And the special is going to get this Guardsman squad killed. One more hit and it will go down. Heretics trying to join in the fight with her. The Lord General is running away at 50 HP, can go down to hammer the Witches here. The Inquisitor does have the ability available, but actually ignores that Lord General. Could have been a kill for her and a lot of XP as well. The Inquisitor is level 3. Heavy weapons team is going to set up in her face, and she will definitely go down here. Catchers just need to fire a single salvo, but they're not firing. They need to stop moving and just fire their weapons, and they would have been able to get the kill there. Had the Lord General actually gone down in that engagement while the Sorcerer is still down, it would have forced one of them to repurchase their commander, or it would have forced Floid in the bottom side to actually come up. These Tactical Marines, they are so overextended right now, going to fall down here most likely. In fact, they are actually able to get away with 2 models, surprisingly, against all that melee on the street. If these sluggers were upgraded, they would have definitely struggled to escape there. And 2 Stormboy models, in fact only just one. The one got injured, the other one did go down. These Shotgun Scouts are going to be a bit outmatched here. Their melee resistance though helping out, preventing them from losing a single model against these slugger boys. And Floyd going to be the last person to tier 2 by quite a while, with his Techmarine currently in the rear. Does actually have another set of scouts that are fully upgraded as well, so he's actually repurchased the scout squad since he did lose one earlier on in the game. 353 VPs to 463. Generator farm is still in risk. The power node has gone down, a generator now following it up as well. And the Techmarine and some scouts are on their way, and Floyd's actually getting a Razorback here as well. Meanwhile, Forest opting for a Dreadnought in the top side, and KvotheTheBloodless against go opt for a Death Dread in the bottom. Floyd, I wonder how he's actually going to handle this Death Dread as it rolls out of base and will head straight down towards the bottom power farm. Techmarine does have plenty of ways of dealing with melee walkers in the sense that you can get Orbs of the Omnissiah to stun the vehicle for 12 seconds. Could prove quite useful, but needs another source of AV to actually follow it up. Raps is going to be jumping in here. By the looks of it, they look like they're preparing to jump in, but don't actually jump in. They look like they're a little bit scared about committing to an engagement. But Phoenix currently alone up here, with the exception of a Sentinel from Jorg, but a Manticore on the field. And Heavy Weapons team, the Inquisitor, back onto the field as well. Raps is going to be engaging the Heavy Weapons team here. The also cannon is close by. He doesn't know what to do. It's swinging its gun about. That also can is a prime target for the Raptors. The Power Fist so effective at picking away models and they flare. But no, that's a Manticore strike, a very brutal Manticore strike in fact. Taking down a Guardsman squad here by the looks of things. That Chimera though is very low, did take quite a lot of damage from the Manticore strike. And that heavy weapons team is currently unupgraded, so no AUV sources to take out that Chimera. Over the Sentinel with the missile launcher, nearly getting the Chimera here. Another missile hit should do it. And it will be able to secure the kill. The Sentinel might give up his own life trying to kill that Chimera, but it is worth it. The trade, the Chimera loss is massive here, and the Dreadnought is going to be pushing forward. That heavy weapons team, it needs to be upgraded to something now. It needs to be a last cannon, or it needs to be an auto cannon to deal with this Dreadnought, but it's going to be too late, and that heavy weapons team is getting forced off, taking everything in the process. Double Tactical Marines here in the bottom for Floid. Looks like he's going to go for a missile launcher on his Tactical Marines as a source of AV against this Death Dread that is pushing forward. No burners and bits yet, although the AV is actually going to go down here. The Stormboys with user choppers nearly enough here, but the shotgun blast from the scouts suppressing the Stormboys, preventing them from being able to chase, is going to be enough to secure their lives. But that Razorback though getting very low. These Stormboys do have heavy melee with their leader. The Slugger Boys with the power melee, or even quite a lot of power melee, is actually enough to put a little bit of a dent into that Razorback as well. Where the Stormboy leader just dying in this engagement. The Slugger Knob leader, it remains alive, and Death Dread remains unthreatened right now as the AV has already been forced off the field. 353 VPs versus 351. The VPs are so close here. Meanwhile, some Tzeentch worship up in the top side of the map here. The Dreadnought remains shrouded, it's still unupgraded. Could see a Mark of Khorne upgrade here. And Chaos Sorcerer has also been upgraded with some tier 2 war gear. The Rod of Warpfire allows you to do damage in a line, and also the Chains of Torment allowing you to actually snare units in place, and also increases the health of the Sorcerer by 200. You can see the Rod of Warfare get used right here, and there you go, doing a lot of damage to these Castershins, in fact doing bonus damage to heavy infantry as well. Chaos Sorcerer does have both ranged and melee damage to put a dent into a lot of units, having 35 piercing damage at ranged and 50 melee damage in melee. It's quite an effective weapon as Sorcerer, especially if you want to keep him at a distance as a spellcaster rather than trying to jump in and be aggressive with him. And the Chains of Torment allows him to play very defensively. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, a Tzeentch Dreadnought coming up here. Manticore Strike going to follow up, Suppression going to go down, and Manticore Strike going to be hitting that bunker hard along with the Tzeentch Dreadnought, is able to take it out completely. Manticore alone is definitely not enough to take down an Imperial Guard bunker, and Touch of Nurgle onto these Raptors. Needs to be careful. As the model explodes, it will do 75 piercing damage, and it does do full damage on retreat as well. And these Raptors going to be uncontested here against the melee in this engagement. Heretics able to get in as well. These guys are going to get forced off, and the Tzeentch Dreadnought is going to chase down this regular Chaos Dreadnought with Raptors jumping in furtherly. Do need to be careful though. The Touch of Nurgle is now over, does not work anymore. And Melted Stormtroopers might be enough to actually save the Dreadnought here of Forest by forcing off the Tzeentch Dreadnought from Phoenix. Plague Marines still remain on the field, very tanky here, 2000 HP, although down to 600, and that autocannon is shredding them, and they will lose a model. They do not heal themselves on explosion, but they do heal nearby units, although there are none to be seen here. Meanwhile, Dark Flames, the Chains of Torment of Forest coming down with his Chaos Sorcerer, doing a lot of damage here and forcing KvotheTheBloodless off the field almost instantly with that combination. 335 VPs, 343 VPs are insanely close in this game, less than 10 VP difference between both teams, and feels like it has been that way for quite some time. Sentinel has made its way towards mid, and Forest with a small force here is going to push him forward, but going to find himself outmatched against the Inquisitor. Hammer the Witch is going to go down, but it looked like it bugged out, it didn't look like it actually hit a single person. And Techmarine, very interesting choice here for Floid for going for the plasma gun. It's not actually effective against Orks. They don't have any heavy infantry in tier 2. Only in tier 3 do they get heavy infantry in the form of knobs and flash gits. But normally you do see a mastercrafted bolster instead, since it seems to be infantry based. and sometimes you also see a Melter Bomb, the Melter Gun, and sometimes you will even see a Power Axe, although Power Axe is definitely not recommended against both Sluggers and Stormboys on the field at the same time. Imperial Guard bunker going to go down here. There's actually already a bunker down here, which is a medical bunker. It looks like this one is going to be a repair bunker for the 2 vehicles, or for the 3 vehicles if you include the Manticore, up in the top side of the map here. Very generous by Jorg to have so many bunkers to support his team, although on that contested VP you want as much support there as possible, since it is so important to actually hold. Inquisitor will get forced off here, going a little bit too close to the heavy weapons team. There is no bunker, there's no beacon up on the top side right now. Could see a beacon get placed down by Jorg if he wants to buy a Chimera, but that's quite an expensive beacon in comparison to Techmarine. Even Floid could actually go up top if he wants to help out his teammates Corn and Forest by placing down a beacon, but we might see one in mid later on as the game progresses. KvotheTheBloodless pushing in through mid. There's just so much melee here with Shooter Boys and Tank Busters following up the rear. This last dependent Devastator squad is going to get forced off here, gets inside the Razorback. If they try to retreat away, they would have easily fallen to those Storm Boys there. And that Razorback does have the improved armor plate, it does have an extra 200 HP. And these scouts not seeming to take a single model loss. With the elite training you get a lot of energy regen, which does work on retreat, and at the same time scouts do have melee resistance, which means that they do fare better when trying to retreat from melee units. Creeping Barrage going to go down on top of the Chains of Torment unit snared, unable to avoid it unless they decide to retreat away. Meanwhile Forest still keeps his Dreadnought unupgraded here, and these Melter Stormtroopers getting a little bit too close, actually forced off in the end. Plague Marines could try and go behind some green cover here, but a dead Heretic squad from a Manticore strike from Corn, and that Manticore strike doing quite a bit, and a retaliation Manticore strike here from Jorg Apo could kill this Heretic squad. They are very vulnerable right now, but will be able to get away. Meanwhile the Dreadnought though for Forest is definitely going to fall down. The Zenith Dreadnought is chasing away and is going to land all its missiles and kill it in the end. Meanwhile Raptors on top of these Plague Marines with the Inquisitor, a lot of melee damage here. They will struggle, but Plague Marine's slow aura makes it very difficult for units to chase in retreat. In fact, not losing a single model so far, but Raptors going to jump once again, going to switch targets to these Guardsmen instead. That Power Fist will easily take down the Guardsman models with ease. The Commissar trying to do what he can within that Guardsman squad, but as much as he does have quite a bit of melee damage for an Imperial Guard unit, it does not actually stand up against the might of some Raptors. Level 3, nearly level 4 in fact. These Raptors have done a lot of work for Phoenix throughout this game, and players are now all entering tier 3 by the looks of things. All of Red Team are now tier 3, Floid entering tier 3, Forest already gained out a tier 3 unit, and Corn, I'm not actually sure if he is tier 3. I don't think that he is, given the amount of power that he has stored up, and given the second Manticore purchase as well. That could easily afford to go tier 3 if he wanted to. But Blue Team are slacking on VPs right now, down 151 VPs to 343. VPs were close to much earlier, but they've dropped 200, while Red Team has remained the same throughout the game. Raptors able to get away there with without any model losses, with the exception of one that they lost much earlier. But it looks like players are starting to group towards the mid side. Forest is actually going to be pushing with Floid, and at the same time Jorg Apo is going to be pushing with KvotheTheBloodless. Dark Flames does go down, but a bit of an odd position to actually place it. Should have waited for an engagement to actually happen. Meanwhile, looks like the Manticore was cancelled for Corn. Actually getting a heavy weapons team out, might go tier 3 after this heavy weapons team and join the rest of the players. Meanwhile, right now would be a good position for Dark Flame, especially with the Chains of Torment from Chaos Sorcerer. The Orc player is so grouped up right now. Pergast is going to go down here onto the army, and Stormboy is going to be jumping in here as well, but they are actually stuck by the Chains of Torments here. The marked target from the Techmarine getting used onto the Stormboys will be able to get away. Marked target giving an extra 40% damage reduction to units, or allowing you to do an extra 40% damage to the marked unit. Last Cannon able to finish off that Death Dread. Corn is even now down here as well, and the Chaos Predator with the Mark of Corn upgrade doing more effective against infantry, giving an extra 75% damage on the side bolsters and an extra 25% on the main battle cannon. Tank Buster sitting very defensively here. This Chaos Predator can easily get warped out if the Sorcerer was in a safe place if it was needed, but Repair is going to go down, and the Techmarine could see Blessings of the Omnissiah to protect all the vehicles for blue team later on as the game progresses. Meanwhile, Cassian's going in way too far there, not even able to retreat away in time. The Sen's not going to go down, a Melter Bomb thrown, but it's already dead. Doesn't even matter, and blue team are pushing through, they're storming through the center of the map, and red team are losing ground so quickly here. Red team have invested a lot in holding the top side of the map with 2 bunkers, but they actually have nothing to hold the mid area. A very nice Manticore strike does try and buy some time, but it's not going to be enough. There are 2 bunkers up here, and there are still some units in the area. They need to start making their way towards the center of the map. And Slugger's going to go down here. I'm not sure what Bloodless was doing. He actually kind of threw them away. And the power bash here as well. Both teams going to be down to a single generator farm by the looks of things. Some Melter Stormtroopers here for Corn actually getting detected before they're able to snipe down that Manticore. They actually ran out of energy by the looks of it. Not able to infiltrate any longer. Meanwhile, Floid gain a Land Raider Redeemer. Red team are actually down quite a lot of units right now. 81 VPs to 342. Red team starting to bleed a few VPs now as the cap is against them, and some shrines of Tzeentch going to go down, giving 10% damage reduction per shrine. And I believe this does affect allies as well, and that autocannon is going to be so protected with an extra 20% damage resistance. I'm not sure though if it applies to vehicles on top of it. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments nonetheless. The Phoenix going to get forced off here. Pegasus is going to go down, only catching out a couple of guards. Also got a nice Dark Flames there from Forest, and a Manticore strike to follow up. There's a Creeping Barrage as well to toss them straight in. Oh wow, the damage onto this Orc army is brutal. 2 squads of shooters going to go down. Stormboys potentially going to go down, losing their Nob leader and losing all the models with the exception of 1. The Shrines of Tzeentch, 1 remains. The second one has been destroyed. The second one is actually getting focused down. The Inquisitor looks like she was trying to focus down a Shrine of Tzeentch there. Guardsman squad very low on the field, needs to back straight away. Comes onto the field with only a couple of models there. And a great and clean one here for Phoenix, going to be leading a secondary charge. Should maybe wait though for the remainder of the forces to regroup rather than just pushing in blindly. But blue team able to get a cap onto the VP after trying to get knocked off by that grey and clean one. 81 VPs to 313. Lehman Russ also on the field, the grey and clean one being 6,200 HP roughly of super heavy infantry, although 6,125, we can just say that instead of saying a rough estimate. Very tanky, very difficult to kill, but a lot of plasma damage here, especially for Corn, who does have Plasma Guardsman and Forest as well with Mark of Tzeentch CSM, actually quite effective against super heavy infantry, doing the full amounts of damage to it. Along with the Predator being quite effective as well against super heavy infantry since it is a Mark of Corn. Sorcerer going to be locking down these melee units into place. I'm surprised that Kvo has actually gone for a Nob squad given that the Chaos Sorcerer is on the field with the Chains of Torments, and Doombox actually doing quite a lot of damage there. These Nobs are heavy infantry and do take bonus damage from plasma type damage. Floid also with a plasma gun as well, already purchased, and to be very effective against these Nobs, and they're already down to just 3 out of 4 models down, a loss of health, trying to get a decap onto the VP. They are using their Frenzy as well, but they only get the decap for a short amount of time. Meanwhile, blue team are sneaking up here. Corn able to take down the Manticore with these Melter Stormtroopers, and they're able to take down a Generator as well. Meanwhile, Cassian's going to be trying to capture and reclaim the area. The bunker will most likely be the next target for these Melter Stormtroopers, since they can take it down fairly quickly. And a very weird retreat path. That is because of the Land Raider Redeemer in the area. A very risky retreat path as well for these Stormtroopers. And we'll lose a model here, potentially a second model, who actually gets away, retreating to Floyd's Land Raider to safety. And blue team very static right now, don't need to push, they're on a 2-to-1 cap. They need to wait for red team to come to them. They need to just slowly bleed them out of the VPs, since blue team are low on VPs and they don't need to take any risks. Right now they can safely win the game by just holding this area along with their natural at the same time. Red team, not even control of the topside VP, needs to reclaim it back themselves. Looks like red team are gearing up for a push together. Blue team do have the larger amounts of forces, but blue team are close to the base, but there is a Land Raider Redeemer which is acting as a mobile base. Manticore strike along with a Creeping Barrage, a bunker game placed down. That is a dead set of heretics there as well. The grey and clean one pushing in here. Rocks on top onto the Land Raider Redeemer. Nob's not most effective against Land Raider Redeemer with the damage from those side mounted flamers of the Land Raider. Grey and Clean One now getting to the rocks area. Demon Russ is trying to fire away here. Melter Stormtroopers trying to act as a counter here, trying to fire away that Grey and Clean One who's been hit by a Melter Bomb, but he's not having any of it. And a nice nuke here from Phoenix as well. Going to be catching out a few units on retreat here. Retreating through this nuke actually means that you take more damage since it is heavy melee. Same with the Noxious Cloud from the Plague Champion. Retreating through melee damage means that you take a lot of it in retreats. You take bonus melee damage on retreats. You want to try and just walk out of it without retreating away. Otherwise, you are most likely to lose some units. The Warboss going to be pushing in. Surprisingly, no armor onto the Warboss. A lot of players tend to favour going for the spiky armor at the very least. Just give Warboss an extra bit of tankiness and some flash gets out in the field with the blaster upgrades. No Get Finder upgrade just yet though. Blaster's doing psychic damage, very effective against heavy infantry and super heavy infantry. Well, there is no super heavy infantry here for blue team. There is some heavy infantry here for Floid. I think they would have been better without that upgrade, although now Terminators coming in for Forest. There's now some super heavy infantry for these flash kits. Two focus down grenades getting it thrown down here by Floid, but both are dodged hit by KvotheTheBloodless, and the scouts are going to retreat away, doing some nice burst damage though to these flash kits. Nearly 300 damage. Well, in fact, it is over 300 damage. It's 370 damage done to these flash kits by these double scouts bursting away there. Nob's trying to push in. Surprisingly, no Nob leader and no weapon upgrade either, just the frenzy upgrade. And these Nobs maybe going in a little bit too early here. Going to go after that autocannon squad. Tactical Marine is going to be defending the area. Pergas is going to go down, but not actually catching out too much. The Inquisitor needs to be a bit more bold here and actually going a little bit further. She wants to try and hit more of the enemy team. These Leech Marines getting caught out by the Grey and Clean One's vomit here. They are so low right now. They're going to be falling back. A Noxious Cloud here from Phoenix needs to make its way on top of the Land Raider Redeemer now. It's actually doing heavy melee damage, which that means it actually slightly damages the Predators. Manticore Strike onto the Guardsman here of Jorg. 81 VPs to 158. Now Land Raider Redeemer being so difficult to force blue team away from right now. And Dark Flames onto the heavy weapons team that's trying to just fire away here. Will get killed, I think. One of the models, it looks like it might be far enough away to get away. No, it is actually just going to fall overall. Meanwhile, Stormtroopers up in the top side. There is a turret up top to protect it for red team. And a rocket run going down here as well from Jorg. Not able to do too much there. These Tactical Marines are able to survive. Raptors running away here. I'm not sure where these Raptors were. It looks like they're on the natural VP here. Some Zinch Marines for Phoenix actually hold the area. 59 VPs for blue team, 158 for red. Red team still on nearly triple, or in fact are on triple the amount of blue team's VPs right now. Red team have been the ones to lose 200 VPs recently in this game. The Quant Predator jumping in as well. There could be another grenade available here for Floyd if he wants to throw one on retreat. It looks like these Zinch Marines will have it luckily and will carry on running away. Meanwhile, some Nobs going to go in once again, but getting forced off. No Nob leader, no huge hammers. And I don't know if the microphone actually picked that up, but some serious thunder going on outside. The Great Unclean One is back out onto the field right now. Looks like he might want to push in though hard. A Weird Boy coming out for KvotheTheBloodless. A Weird Boy is actually a nice choice here, although it might be a little bit too late. A Fuss of Gork ability would be so good to cast on top of this Land Raider Redeemer. The plasma cannon damage, very effective against heavy infantry, or just effective against everything in fact. Master Stormtroopers though trying to take down this turret, going to be unsuccessful in doing so. Scout's going to throw a grenade, going to try and finish it off. The grenade will be able to do it, but the autocannon remains set up and Heretics in the area. Phoenix not going to let this top VP go, and double last cannons as well. Heavy weapons teams set up in the top side, probably better suited towards the middle area. Storm Boys, sorry, going to go down here, taking a bit too much damage, trying to retreat away. It's very risky for them to actually try and jump in. And our Tactical Marine's going to be backing away here. Once again, I don't know if you can hear the thunder. It's actually fairly loud right now and I can't control the weather, but the Grey and Clean One getting hit hard There's last cannons on the field, missile launcher tactical marines. As Grand Clean One, super heavy infantry is quite vulnerable to multiple types of damage here. It does have a lot of HP. The Weird Boy is going to pop there in the middle of the engagement, and the Grand Clean One will fall as well. And this is going to be very difficult now for a red team to win. There is a flank on the go here. Triple heavy weapons teams on the flank, along with the Inquisitor herself. The Guardsmen going to go down here. Heavy weapons teams, I'm not sure going to do too much. There is also a nuke on top of the Land Raider to get inside there just in time. And my sound has now gone for some reason. That looks like it's actually going to be a sound bug. And I'm back in the cast. The noble nuke going down to the Land Raider Redeemer, but looks like units are able to actually get inside the Land Raider before any of them actually go down, and the heavy weapons team coming in for a flank here with the Inquisitor, although she falls down quite quickly. These heavy weapons teams though not getting into the engagement in time there. They were actually quite late and were not even able to take down a Chaos Predator. It is a level 4 Predator, so it does actually have a bit of extra health at an extra 230, but still 2 last cannons. I'm not able to do too much damage to 2 vehicles, but the 2 nukes though from Phoenix and from KvotheTheBloodless were able to do some decent damage, but things are looking very grim here for red team. Down a lot of units. Blue team have massive armies in comparison, still unable to get that triple cap because they have dedicated all their army towards the center of the map. But I feel like they could actually split off now at this point in the game, given the lack of units, and actually head up towards the top lane. These knobs actually getting subjugated here by the Chaos Sorcerer, going to be guided away from the VP and prevented from actually being able to get a decap onto it, even with the Frenzy ability. The blue team defending their natural VP as well. And a small detachment here from Floid going to go up to the top side of the map, going to secure the remainder of this game. And autocannon going to be very effective at tearing down this Imperial Guard bunker, along with the Plague Marines as well. The bunker now going down. Could be a rocket run here. Is going to be a rocket run as well. Going to be throwing these knobs back to base. Going to be a crisscross rocket run. Oh, actually not crisscross rocket run. Read the markings on the ground a little bit wrong there. The Inquisitor backing engagement though. Raptors going in hard, but it looks like it might be all for naught here for the red team, as they are now 2-0. Capped right now, not even in control of their natural, not even heading towards to get their top VP even. A Noxious Cloud does get casted on the ground. Phoenix with a lot of red throughout this game, able to cast down multiple nukes and also multiple Noxious Clouds, but it's going to be over for the red team. Blue team making the comeback here after being 200 VPs down, and I would just like to apologize for the amount of distractions in this game. The thunder, my phone going off, and the sound bug that happened in this cast. Apparently audio is not going to work out too well in today's cast. And because it was mentioned in the comments by Rostam313 that I should actually say goodbye at the end of my cast, I'm going to say goodbye now. And once again, sorry for the audio in this particular game. Bye.